Welcome back, Alan here. So today I'm going to be going through and essentially setting up what would probably be known as this infinite horizontal calendar here. I had to think about this quite a bit because I have never really done something like this before, and I wanted to try and come up with a rather simple solution, or as simple a solution as I could, but also achieving the infinite scrolling behavior that we get with calendars so that we can just keep going through each day over and over and over again. And I ended up landing on the idea of using the paging library to do this. If you don't know, let's see if I can. Cool, I do have the right screen up. The paging library is a way that we can start where basically we can load data into our recycler views very easily. The idea is to basically do the infinite scrolling that we see on a lot of apps, pull in data and show it in pages as you're just like scrolling through, and making it fairly seamless to load up different data sets and everything. So that's what I kind of settled on with this. And the first thing that I want to do is actually add the paging library dependency. So I'm going to copy this right here, just this guy. Yep. Copy. And then we'll go over to Android Studio, and I'm going to add it right up here. Then we'll take that. We'll scroll down and add it right here. Okay, we're going to call this paging KTX. And I want to grab the -KTX version, as they point out over here in the comment for Kotlin use paging runtime -KTX. All right, so let's go ahead and sync. All right, cool. So if we go back here, let's see if I can pull up. Oh yeah, so they've just kind of got everything here for us, and we're basically going to ignore most of this. And we're going to be going down and taking a look at, okay, so they've got like nothing but database samples here. Let's see, display page lists. So there's the adapter talking about what that's going to look like, which we'll come back to in a little bit. Let's see, load paged data. Yeah, I think this is kind of what we want to look at. Here we go. Choosing the correct data source type. So behind the paging library is the data source, and it's the data source that provides the pages to the rest of the paging library that then gets provided to the recycler view and then gets displayed to the user. So that's what we want to do, what we want to set up. And there are three types. There's the page keyed data source, which says if pages you load embed next previous keys. For example, if you're fetching social media posts from the network, you may need to pass the next page token. So the next, whatever the next page is going to be. Let's see, then there's the item keyed, where you need to use data from item n to fetch item n plus 1. For example, if you're fetching threaded documents for a discussion, you might need to pass the ID of the last comment to get the next one. And then there's the positional. So if you need to fetch pages of data from any location you choose in your data store, this class supports requesting a set of data items beginning from whatever location you select. For example, if you want to dive to page 10, it needs to grab all of the data around page 10 and then the data around page 9 and 11, for example. I think page keyed data source is going to be the best one because we're going to be keying off of data. This is kind of the thought process that I had. It was like, okay, the data key is going to start with 0, 0 meaning today, and then the next day is going to be +1, and the previous day is going to be -1. So this is the one that we want to that I'm going to use. So I'll go over here, and what I'm going to do is create a new package called horizontal calendar. There we go. Horizontal calendar. Okay, and then we'll go here, and we're going to say horizontal calendar source. Okay. So that's it. This is what it's going to be called. Then we'll go over here, and page keyed data source is what I want. So we'll go page keyed data source. And then there are going to be two values. So the key is going to be a long. There's a reason for that, and we'll get to that in just a moment. And the value that it's going to be returning is going to be a local date. I don't need like date time, I just need the date. Boom, boom, there we go. And now it's going to complain to me that I need to implement specific functions, and here we go. Okay, what do I need? Well, at the moment I actually need the current date. So what I'm going to say right here is private val, let's see, now, and it's going to be our nice little function here, our lambda, to get the current date. And then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say, all right, val, private val today, which returns a local date, get, let's see, whoops, not local date, instant. Did that incorrectly. So return, let's see, now dot at zone id dot system default dot to local date. There we go. So this is going to be located, giving us the current date at the user's specified time, or in the user's selected time zone. So now we need to implement these functions right here. So load initial, I don't like how they do this. Load initial is loading the initial data set. So what we're going to do is we're going to load the current date, and that's basically it. So it'll be callback dot on result. Let's see, which one do I want? Previous and next. Yes. Okay. So there are three parameters here. There is the data. So in this case, it's going to be a mutable list of, and I'm just going to pass in today. And then it's going to be the previous data set key. So the previous key for it. So in this case, it's going to be -1, and then the next one is going to be 1. Okay? This is going to make sense in just a minute. So think about it as, all right, -1 is the day before, and 1 is the next day. Okay? So that's what we're passing in here. We're passing in the previous version, the previous key that we want to get, and this is the number that'll get passed to this load before. And then there's this 1, and this will get passed to this load after. Okay, so now let's go to the load before. Load before is the days before the current date. So we want to do val previous day equals, let's see, 2day dot plus days, and then params is going to have the key that we are looking for. In this case, it's going to be -1 or -2, -3, whatever. The reason we want to do plus is, if you remember from your math class, plus or minus a negative number is adding that number, so you end up in a really weird situation. So you want to add plus. So 0 plus -1 is equal to -1, whereas 0 minus -1 is equal to 1. Okay, so then I'm going to call the callback. So callback dot on result, mutable list of, whoops, the previous day, and then I'm going to pass in the next key that we want to get. So params dot key -1. So again, we're always moving to 1 day previous the next day. And essentially what we're going to do is the exact same thing here as we are with this load after. So we're going to be loading the next days. And instead of saying minus here, it's going to be +1. Okay. So now we have the data source that's going to generate all of our dates and such for us ad infinitum. It's just going to keep going and going and going until we reach probably the epoch, January 1st, 1970. I'm not sure. I suspect that the creators of the Java time library have handled that properly. Okay. So there's the horizontal calendar source. The next thing that we that we have to go and create is the factory. And the factory just basically builds out this source for us. So right here, you can kind of see they've got a factory that's based upon the DAO of a of a database. So I don't have that. I'm not going to be creating that. So what I'm going to do is create my own. So horizontal calendar factory. Add. And then it's going to be, what do they have? Data source dot factory. Data source dot. Wrong data source. Dot factory long local date. Okay. There we go. And then it's going to be complaining because I have to implement this function. Okay. So I'm going to return a data source, and if you remember, the data source needs this lambda, so this guy needs to have the lambda as well. So what I'm going to say is at inject constructor private val now is equal to this instant. So an injection constructor with dagger, and now we pass in now. And that's it. It's really all you do to get the creation and create it all. It's pretty simple. Okay, so the next step is I want to add the factory to the view model. So in this case, we'll go private val horizontal calendar factory. There we go. This should get injected for us because we have an injection constructor in the factory here. But if it doesn't, then I will just add it to the appropriate view model module to build everything. All right. So now we want to surface what this creates as live data so that we can observe it. So val, let's see, we're going to call this horizontal calendar source. And it's going to be live data paged. Paged what? Paged list. There we go. Of local date. Not data, date. Yeah. Okay. So the horizontal factory will create paged lists for us, and this is the backing list for the for our our what do you call it? Adapter. That took a minute. So we'll go here, and then we're going to go horizontal calendar factory dot create. All right, what is it complaining about? Dot, I think, not create, dot, what do they have? to live data. Dot to live data, and then the page size is going to be whatever I want it to be. So in this case, I'm just going to say 30, and there we go. So that's it. That's how it works. If I rebuild this, this should be telling us something nice. Hopefully, fingers crossed that this isn't going to cause any kind of okay, so that compiled properly, which is really good. So the next step is going to be setting up the adapter for the layout and everything, and getting the just setting up the adapter for the recycler view, and that's about all I'm going to do. So what I want to do first is create the Viewholder layout. So we're going to go let's see, item calendar date. Actually, let's call this horizontal calendar date. There we go. And all it's really going to be is two text views stacked on top of each other. So text view, wrap, Android ID, D equals, let's see, what was it? So day of week, app, start to sort of parent, app end to end of parent. Okay, and then we're gonna do the bottom. It's gonna sit there at the top. I also want to wrap the content here, and then Android padding, 16 dp padding all around. We're gonna also do tools. Add the tools so that I can look at this a little bit better. So M, for example. And let's just copy this. Make the adjustments later. Okay. Let's see. Day of month. All right, so the top is going to be to the bottom of at ID, day of week, app, bottom to top of day of month, app, bottom of parent. All right, so, and then this, we'll just do that. Okay, looks pretty good. Looks generally like not too bad overall. Yeah, so we'll style this a whole lot more later. I just want to get the adapter going and just show how this might work and how this will look. So let's go ahead and create the adapter. Horizontal calendar adapter. Okay, and this is going to be a list this adapter, and let's go ahead and take a quick look at the documentation for displaying page list to make sure that I'm going to do this correctly. Okay, paged list adapter is what it's going to be, not a list adapter, paged list adapter. All right, and then it takes in a type, so local date is going to be that, and we're going to create the view holder right now. So class, let's see, calendar date view holder recycler view dot view holder. Okay, and then this is going to be a private val binding item horizontal binding, and then binding dot root fun on bind. It's going to take in a date, which is a local date binding dot apply, and then let's see, what was the one? What did I call these? Forgetting them right away. All right, day of week equals, let's see, date dot day of week dot let's see, get display name, and then text style dot, we're gonna go short. Then I think the next one is locale, right? Yes. Locale dot root dot text. Okay, everything's good. And then day of the month dot text equals date dot day, day of month dot to string. All right, cool. So view holder, so calendar, date view holder. Okay, now I gotta create the differ. So you see how they have a diff callback. Command object private val diff, whoops, not dig. Callback equals object diff util dot item callback. And oh wait, that's right. It's not it. It's an, what is this? Okay, so it needs the local date. There we go. There we go. Implement the members. And we just do a return old item dot equals new item, and then we'll do the same thing. Or wait, is equal. There we go. We want to use the is equal function instead of, we don't want to do, let's see if I can do this real quick. We don't want to do that because that calls the equals function, which is not the correct function that you want to call for time. You can kind of look at the description of it, and it talks about what these are. It just goes in and says that this is a whole lot better. Use what's better. All right. So then we pass the diff callback. There we go. And we got to implement these two members. I like to move these up here. Okay, on create view holder, val by layout inflator equals layout inflator dot from parent dot context val binding equals item horizontal calendar date binding dot inflate layout inflator parent false. And then return calendar date view holder binding, and then we just call the holder dot on bind, and then get item position. All right, so why is this complaining? Because it doesn't know if it's going to exist. So then what we're going to do is this dot let. If it does exist, we bind it. If we don't, then we're not going to bind it. Ta-da! There we go. That's it. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple adapter. Very nice. Okay, next, I'm actually going to react to this. So I'm going to go to the main activity, and then I'll just do main view model dot dot calendar source dot observe this dates, and then oh yeah, I got to update the main activity to actually have the recycler view. So we're going to get rid of this guy. So I'm going to go recycler Cycler view. Let's see, the width is going to be 0dp and the height is going to be wrap content. Android ID at ID is going to be horizontal calendar. And then app start should be start of parent. App end to end of parent. App top to the bottom of, and then I gotta give this guy a name. Android ID app bar. Okay. There we go. That should be it all. Everything. For the time being. Let's add a little margin top. We're going to do 8dp. There we go. Not going to worry too much about styling it. I'll come back to that later. So now I want to set this up. So we'll go and do binding dot horizontal calendar dot apply adapter equals horizontal calendar adapter. There we go. Layout manager is going to equal a linear layout manager, and then it's going to have this, and then the orientation. Let's see, what is it? Recycler view dot orientation dot recycler view dot horizontal view dot horizontal. Or not. Default orientation. Yeah. Oh, linear layout dot horizontal. Right. No. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I had this at some point. Now I'm not remembering. Oh, there it is. Why is this complaining? Don't know why I was complaining there for a minute, but whatever. All right, so that should be it. And then I do, let's see, binding dot horizontal dot adapter. You know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go val horizontal calendar adapter equals this. Okay, so H, there we go. Horizontal dot submit list dates. All right, I think that should be it. So let's go ahead and run this and make sure that everything works. So you can see the old version. Give it a minute. There we go, gets launched. Sweet, came in. Okay, not exactly the best of incoming animations, but not too bad. And you can see Wednesday the 24th, Thursday the 25th, Friday the 26th. There we go, 28th. So this goes into March. Let's see, 31. March does have 31 days. And then you can see this goes back to January. And then you can see I can fling things nicely. And I have no idea where I am anymore in the calendar. All right, so to get this set up or to finish this up, I'm going to need to style it a little more. I'll also want to include this on click and centering everything into that 0 point. But other than that, that's how we set up, or how I'm going to be setting up, an infinite scrolling horizontal calendar. So my main concern, I think, with it is just how many times I'm going to end up calling this. And it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal right now, but it might be sometime in the future. So I might want to adjust and switch to like using the full month dates. So generating all of the dates for a month at one time. But we'll see. We'll play around with this and we'll keep it like this for now. But that's it. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this kind of showed you a little bit into some of my thinking, how I kind of think outside of the box when I have to generate certain things. But anyway, if you enjoyed this and you want to continue watching this series of me building an app, please hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to know each time that I upload a video. And also, if you think that you know someone who would enjoy this, please do me a huge favor and share it with them, and let them know about this, and hopefully then they can kind of learn from it too. We'll see. All right. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.